Hello everyone, this is your official welcome to the 2026-27 season. The World Cup's done, pre-season's done, first round of the Carabao Cup is done, all the waiting around is done. EFL football is back and United are back in League One, starting Saturday with a home game against Wigan Athletic. It's a season of fresh hopes and dreams for us all, but what does it have in store for United? Who's going to lead the line and score the goals? Who's going to become a hero? Who's going to be the villain? And most importantly, where are we going to finish? This season preview podcast is here to discuss those questions and many more over the next hour or so. And I'm joined by a panel of not 3 but 4 people, a group of familiar voices to you all. Matt Caspel, it's a familiar voice, but I feel like I haven't seen you all summer. I don't think we've crossed over a single pod.
Not pods, mate. Did a bit World Cup, didn't we? That was good.
A touch of World Cup, one World Cup game being...
One World Cup game.
the last one.
Yeah. The last one.
That was the last I saw of you.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, no, good summer.
Have you been excited for football to be back?
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? I went to the Northampton game, and at 10 minutes in, I was like, fuck, what am I doing here? You know, I mean, this is why you don't go to friendlies, especially home friendlies at the Abbey are uniquely boring, actually, but it ticked into life a bit. And then Barnet was fun. Again, the discovery of the Carabao Lager on the advertising hoardings, which was covered on the review pod. That was definitely a thing.
And that's really the highlight from the weekend.
That was probably the highlight. Well, no bar queue, really. That's good.
Yeah.
Sort of like a bit like back to the conference days, like a few people there, but not so many. You can really have your own patch of terrace. Really go to the bar, not really worried about. I mean, I didn't miss any of the goals. I saw it all because I wasn't worried about a bar queue this time. So, yeah, all good. Ready for league action now.
Well, my next panelist, Tom Walker, I've seen far too much of you this summer, probably. I feel like I've spent lots of July with you. And you started August as you mean to go on. As I've already found out, you missed a couple of goals, didn't you, on Saturday?
Yeah. I mean, Casper alluded to the fact that Jude's been worried about bar queues. I mean, it wasn't that. I much preferred having a pint.
Incredibly bored.
And the fact there was no bar queues of anything was more of like an incentive to go and get a bit. Yeah, missed the first couple. I've seen it on the highlights and I saw her score the winner. So, that's what I was there for.
Make of that what you will. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Good stuff. And what
a winner it was.
I know what a winner it was.
Yeah.
Goal of the season, probably. And then the fourth panelist, Swindle. There's no such thing as too much of you, is there, mate? How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Fresh from the weekend at the Fans Forum. I have to say, the hydration break on Saturday at the game was a really kind of eye-opening thing. It's one thing seeing all the players rush over to the side to get their bottles of water. To see 200 people rush out of the NRE to go to the bar and get a pint in the hydration break was quite a sight to see. And people getting back, in the 30th minute, getting back into the NRE after being in the bar was an interesting one. So that could be something that's new for football now.
Well, it's a hydration break for us all, isn't it? What are your hopes and feelings at the moment? How are you feeling about Saturday in the season? Excited, nervous?
It's a weird one. I feel kind of excited about the season as a whole, but I think if we kind of, fast forward an hour or so, I think I'll cut quite a negative figure. I think there's still a few questions to be answered, and those pre-season nerves never get any easier. But yeah, I think it could be an interesting one, and hopefully a couple more people through the door to ease some negativity. I'm known as the panicker on the podcast, so I might as well wear that, wear that mantle quite well.
Well, Casper's also been joining you in our little WhatsApp chat on the panic train. It's been a couple of weeks you've been on board the panic train, isn't it, Casper?
It's just every Monday comes around, I'm just sit down and sort of get through my admin. And I'm like, one of those bits of admin apparently is thinking about the plight of Cambridge United. Like, shit, where are all the signings? Has it really been 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, however long it's been since we've announced the signing? You try and convince yourself, and this is what I'm going to do. Going to manifest, Swindle.
Have you approached this then with the positivity in mind of manifest a positive season?
I'm going positive. I'm staying positive.
Nice.
I'm going full. It's going to be full Harris. I just trust that they know what they're doing. It's a total opposite to last year. So hopefully my prediction is a bit more accurate this year for where we're going to finish than last year's 14th.
14th, okay. Yeah.
My prediction this year is not a million miles off that. So.
Yeah, all right, spoilers. Yeah. Come on, we're going to end the pod with that. We're going to do a bit of the way we're going to do today is we're going to chat through the squad and where we're at with that and like preview, looking at what's the current state of play is. Obviously, we're recording this on the 11th of August, so plenty of work to be done, but how we're feeling basically going into the first game with where we're at. And then we've got predictions from us four. We don't know each other's, so we'll run through those for a couple of categories. And then we've got some predictions in from guests from the website team and from Jord, who couldn't be here tonight. Tom, before we do all of that, I wanted to start with a question. Cast your mind back 5 years, the last time we returned to League One. Obviously, it'd been a lot longer of a break from the last time we'd been in League One before that. But what's your feeling like entering this season in comparison to then, if you can remember what it felt like that summer under Bonner?
Quite different, but in some ways quite the same, I think. I think there was a lot of unknowing the time before. A lot of that was because of stuff on the pitch about the fact we were going up into a league we'd not been in for a long time, and a lot of clubs that we'd not played for an even longer time. And we'll talk about the churn of the squad this summer, or in some cases lack of churn of the squad this summer. We'd also lost a lot of key players going into that summer, going into that season as well. Like you think Mullins, the obvious one, but also Kyle Noyle, Hiram Boateng, a couple of quite notable players from that year who've been such a big part. We're not going to be there the season after, so it's like, well, what are we going to look like at a level above, playing without 3 or 4 of our best players? That was concerning. Obviously, we don't have that this year so much because Ben Knight's still here. It was probably maybe the standout. I guess Gibbons is the one who's missing, but I would say it's probably not quite as much of a loss as someone who scored 30 odd goals. With the greatest respect, or they gave it a good go. Obviously, there was stuff off the pitch as well because obviously it was just the fact we were going back to football, which was great because it was off the back of the pandemic. So that's obviously something that we I guess a novelty that we just don't have, thankfully, I guess. But it did change the way that you look and sort of look forward to the season. I think we basically just know what we're up against this time, whereas before we didn't. And that's good because you know how enjoyable League One can be at its best. Some of the journeys we get to do and some of the teams that will play, and that still maybe has a bit of a novelty feeling for us in some cases. But you also go into it full of the knowledge that while last season was really enjoyable because we were basically winning games every week, this season's going to have to be enjoyable because we're trying not to lose games every week, and that's a difference that it takes a while to get your head around. And it's also the fact that you probably look at things a lot more critically because it's not just, we've been promoted, we're in League One, great stuff, holiday time. Whereas there was a lot of that last time around. There's probably not as much like this time around, which means we're looking at everything a lot more, with basically a lot more critically about areas of the pitch we feel we're short in. How's the team going to look? How can we shape up? How can we be better than we were? Sort of certainly the last season we're in this division, but certainly the last probably 2 or 3 seasons really that we're in this league. There's a lot of things that are the same because there's probably a lot of apprehension of how does the squad look and how is it shaping up going into the new season, which is the same as this. Well, I guess it is always like that, regardless of the division you're going into, but particularly because we lost a lot last time and we haven't added maybe enough this time, in my opinion, and probably a few of yours as well. But I think the overriding difference is that we just know what we're up against. We just know what the challenge is probably going to be and what it's going to look like and what it's going to feel like. But yeah, we also know that for our first season back the previous time round, we know that there's a real upside to it, and that's fundamentally that it can be really enjoyable at its best. So a lot to look forward to, but a lot to do before then.
Yeah, agree with that. And also I think that point about something I think we spoke about right at the end of last season when we confirmed promotion, about the kind of difference in, I don't know, messaging or like confidence levels. Because I think this time around there was a lot of chat about like we're back where we belong, and there's a bit more of an air of we deserve to be at this level, and this isn't just something that's a little holiday. That whole little old Cambridge sort of nickname that we used to our advantage last time round. Casper, is that something that you're feeling like there's a bit more? Maybe Harris is the key to that, and it was something that I think I touched on in the first, I can use it as a plug, the Cambridge Independent column that we're doing this year, sort of touched on the fact that a lot of that confidence, I think, maybe comes from Harris and the fact that he is such an experienced manager at this level and the level above. When you compare it to going in with Bonner, and it was such a surprise promotion last time, this time there is maybe a bit more of an air. This isn't to say that it's going to be an easy task at all, but an air that we do belong a bit more in the third tier than maybe last time round.
I certainly hope you're right, or I hope the narrative's right anyway. Yeah, I think there's a bit to that. It probably is Harris, or certainly it's in Harris's DNA. I would expect him to come out and say this kind of thing anyway, to be honest. But I think with Harris, we've got to hope that all that stubbornness that we had last year that helped us obviously get up out of League Two is something we carry through into League One. And my hope and I guess my expectation is it's something that we will be able to just feel like that style of football is more translatable up the divisions than other styles of football, if that makes sense. That's the reason I'm trying to be positive and feeling a bit more upbeat about things, I guess.
Yeah, we're going to come. We've got a bit on Harris later, and I think that's a really interesting point that let's come back to once we've done the squad. I think let's start there. Let's go over the squad and where we're at the moment, as I say, on the 11th of August. So even by the end of this week, you'd hope that there's a little bit of movement in certain places, and maybe the first department, which Swindle, we've got our Cumbrian correspondent here to be able to talk about a potential new addition to this unit of the side. So at the moment, we're looking at Eastwood, Hughes, and Briggs as our three options, but reported by Pete O'Rourke, quite reliable source over on X, is that we've agreed a fee with Gabe Breeze, which has become not a saga, but there has been a bit of back and forth, it seems, if his reporting is to be believed. Let's start with him as a keeper. Swindle, what do you know about him? You can get his Wikipedia page up in the next 5 seconds as well while I finish the question. But also, I know that you've asked some Carlisle fans that you know about a bit of a review of him. So maybe give us a bit of insight on him.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, he's a player who's played less than 100 games in his career, but is really well regarded by Carlisle. He actually went down with them, but in the National League last year was kind of heralded, in amongst keepers in the league is one of those that saved I think 3 penalties across the back of last season, and also his Wikipedia page tells me that we've got the same birthday, which is great. So
that's
absolutely love
nice.
that. But
only in terms of day and month. We're not.
Yeah, slightly different. Yeah,
that's reassuring.
How many years apart?
Well, mine starts 198 and his starts 200. So I think do the math. But yeah, it's they say quite similar things to what they say about Jake Eastwood. Like, he's a really good keeper. He can be quite confident, but he does have a flap. There is that in there, and there's a couple of instances in that relegation season where he was kind of called out for maybe not being commanding enough of the box, but you expect that with a young keeper. But I think last season there were a couple of errors in there. But I suppose you're very exposed as a keeper, and generally all the reviews are very, very high of the young man. And yeah, just apparently very good attitude as well. So would certainly be good acquisition, but it'd be interesting to see how that signing would be used, and what would happen kind of off the back of it, really. Surely someone would have to be going the other way.
Yeah, Tom, I mean, on that point, what do you think the strategy is here? It feels like an odd one, taking the quality of the player themselves out, but like signing a young, promising keeper at the moment for a fee as well, obviously. I wouldn't have guessed that that's the next place we'd go and spend money on. What, I guess in the short term first, like for this season, what do you think the strategy here is, and is it as simple as Eastwood must be on his way out?
To me, like, I totally get the idea of signing, and to be honest, it's something we've been literally like harping on about for years, is signing players with a bit of upwards potential, particularly from non-league. That's something that people have asked us about like loads and loads over the years. When are we going to start signing players from non-league and sort of trying to sell them up the pyramid rather than what we've done, which is a lot of the time over the years we've been signing players to the Championship, sort of early to mid 30s who are on the way down and last contracts and that sort of stuff. So that's good, and that's something that I think we should encourage and that we should be happy about. But for me, the only way that this makes sense to do this now is if Eastwood is moving on. I don't know the ins and outs of it. Obviously, it's not even been confirmed yet. So, I suppose there's things that could go wrong with that deal. But I'm thinking, firstly, we're paying a fee for what on paper looks like a sub goalkeeper. Um, why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense when there's other areas of the pitch that are frankly much lighter and in much more need of investment than the goalkeeper areas at the moment. If you take Jake East out of that situation, it does obviously make a lot more sense. Um, I don't know that that's going to happen, but to me, it's the only reason why you would spend what is going to be like a reasonable fee as well. Like I think there's an assumption that we're still chucking around like 25-30k bids for players, and that's what's getting them through the door. Like that's not how it works anymore. Like you've heard of interviews from Neil Harris and other people around this sort of division, the one below, the one above, about how the money's gone insane. Like if we've got in and bid three times reportedly before agreeing a fee for a goalkeeper, a young goalkeeper from a club like Carlisle, who are not like a tiny club. I think they're pretty well moneyed. Like we're not going to be talking about small money. We're going to be talking about probably something over six figures, I'd guess. That seems like a lot to invest in a goalkeeper if he's not going to play for you pretty much every week. So yeah, I think that's the main thing. I mean, if it is to be a sub goalkeeper, then I find it totally bizarre. I'm not saying there isn't a need for a more defined second choice, because obviously there was that 1 or 2 week period where Hughes came in when Eastwood got sent off against Notts County. We immediately went out and signed someone on an emergency loan. So that suggests that there is a need to have somebody as a backup, a proper defined second choice there. But if what I've just said is what comes to pass and Eastwood moves on, Breeze comes in, we're still in the situation where we need to go and sign another goalkeeper. So it's a bit of a weird one. It feels like at this point in the transfer window, with the areas of the pitch like centre forward, centre mid, maybe one or two others we'll talk about, looking the way they do and looking as light as they do, it feels like manoeuvring this much in the goalkeeper department is not what we should be doing. So I'm just a bit confused, to be honest with you, and that's the best way I can sum it up.
The last bit there is a crucial thing for me, because I think if you're saying, okay, you want to improve your number two with someone who's got real upside, give him some experience at a higher level and integrate him into a side. If we know that Eastwood wants to move back up north, which has been a rumour that I think has been swirling around for quite a few months, even before this. And then next year you transition Breeze into your number one and you send Hughes out on loan this year. So then he's, you're improving the whole stock. I get it. And that makes sense. But it's that point you just made there that while there are other gaps in this side, is that really the smartest thing to go and do now? And the timing of it is slightly confusing, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Let's see first of all if it gets over the line, as you rightly said. Apparently a medical later this week, so it'll all become clear in the next couple of weeks what the plan is with that area of the pitch, and I'm sure we'll cover that on future pods. Casper, defenders. This is the list at the moment. Watts, Jobe, Bauer, Bennett, Bradshaw, and Perry. When I wrote that out, I had to triple check, and I've just done it again. But that is it at the moment. It is 6 players, and just looking at that list of 6, are you thinking what I'm thinking, that it still feels quite light there, just in terms of numbers?
It's going to be a job playing 5 at the back, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. 5 of the 6 playing every week.
It's going to be a real job. Yeah, that's definitely. It's thin. I think it's 2 bodies light, probably.
Yeah.
You need cover for that right back position. And I still think we need another centre back in there. Whether or not we know necessarily what's going to happen with Mamadou Jobe, that's it feels like it's gone a bit quiet in the last week or so. Don't know.
I'm still with your point of view that I just love something to happen of some nature.
Yeah.
The quietness doesn't help. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to. Could you imagine the window ends? He's still here, but he hasn't signed a new deal.
Anything.
It's just going to be horrible. Yeah. It's going to be like purgatory.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really want us to be in a position to play 5 at the back, which is going to feature quite heavily when we talk about predictions later on, I think. I just have misgivings. From what I've seen in the 2 games, the back 4, do you know what? It's not even a back 4 problem, but it is just it's what it does to centre midfield. It's what happens in front of it that seems to be a real issue at the moment. So it's not actually a personnel issue with the back 4 particularly. I do think, though, one thing with the back 4 is that Liam Bennett, just like last time, and just like Swindle was talking about on the review pod, will get singled out if he plays in a back 4 at right back. I think we're going to see a few more sort of real challenging moments and games for him there. I just feel like he could work so effectively in a back 5. So yeah, this department is a bit thin. I think definitely a right back or right back cover, and definitely probably another centre back. Or really, you just need I mean, you just need someone who can do quite a few jobs. Ideally, really like a bit of a utility,
Like a
reliable
Gibbons,
person.
right?
Well, to be fair, in Gibbons terms, Perry to me he
Sure.
just looks like the
Fine.
left-sided version of Gibbons, if that makes sense. And I'd love to have Gibbons in that unit or another player of a similar mold, but Perry looks like a really like athletic, capable of playing left back, getting up and down the line, crossing the ball, but also will dig in and be a centre back and is quite like strong as well. So he is a perfect example. If we could get another one of those, a right-sided version of that, then yeah, that would be a really good signing.
Almost like want to say a left wing back as well, like to someone who's obviously. I think Heath wasn't signed for that. I think we'll find out that he was signed as a winger, but he can play there. Did play there last year for Accrington. But I wonder if if you think last season, if you're trying to sort of mirror the structure of the squads, a lot of the season was Brophy played there for quite a lot of the season, or Adam Mayer. So maybe there's someone who's a bit more of a specialist that could be an option. But the point being that 6 names there, in all the chat of centre mids, it maybe just flew under my radar a little bit, just in numbers where we're at with this back line. And the question I was going to ask was, is there a Gibbons shaped hole in this area of the pitch, which I think you've answered quite well.
Do we think McLaughlin? Do you think they look? He played at wing back, didn't he? Do we think they're looking at him and thinking he can like cover on right back? Obviously, the centre midfield department, which someone else will talk about in a minute, also looking quite thin. So
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's literally just occurred to me because I was scanning down the names of midfielders. Like, is there even anyone we trust there to like play in a defensive role? I think Don Ball obviously could theoretically patch into centre back.
I do think McLaughlin has played more right back than like the equivalent of Don Ball playing centre back, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like McLaughlin has actually played some football there, but just that we've never seen him do it once.
Like, I know it's season preview, right? And we obviously want to try and pump a bit of optimism into people and stuff like that, right? But I mean, I look at the squad as it is now. I think we were pretty positive when like the first moves were getting made, particularly Heath instead came in, and like we were pretty happy with that. We thought this is a good start, and long may that continue. But like we're 4 days away from the season starting, and we're talking about playing a centre mid who we released in May at wing back. And I'm thinking something somewhere has gone quite badly wrong, I think.
If Bennett gets injured this week, like McLaughlin at right back, I have Apre up top. What's happening here?
Like I hear the fact that like it's difficult, like the transfer market is hard for us, and it's the same things that we've heard a lot about trying to recruit as a League One club, and that's fine. And after this many years, you have to accept there's something in it, and it's not just excuses; it's just the way that it is. But I kind of feel like if we had, let's say, I guess it's a bit of a hypothetical, when sort of trying to paint an alternative reality. But if we hadn't been promoted, like let's say that we'd stayed up in League One and we'd gone into a season like this, people would be losing their mind. They'd be absolutely losing their mind. Like we've not even got onto the strikers yet. Like we're literally over the pitch.
No one even asked you a question, mate.
The back of the pitch is the good bit. That's the bit we're supposed to be confident on. And we're going.
The first team is good back there. The first team players are good back there, right?
This is the point. This is the question I was going to ask. Right. Let's just stick to signings rather than like the first team, because is the question, Tom, for you more a question of quantity or quality or both? Because I think when I look at the 4 new players, let's get just McLaughlin and Lavery, just park that situation for a second and just pretend that we retain them, whatever mess we made there. But of the 4, Heath, Stead, Perry, Bauer, maybe like in that order of excitement, let's say, I think they're not bad signings at all. I can see why all 4 will be decent additions to the squad. So there's a question less like who we've signed and why. Oh, sorry, I know is in there as well. But is it less like who we signed and just we haven't signed enough of them because we're talking about playing a centre mid from a 4th choice centre mid from last season at right back?
Yeah, I think it definitely is. I've actually been pretty roundly impressed with the quality of what we managed to bring in, and I think the players that we have brought in who are new to the club, I think they will make a real impact. But like, Well, I was actually sent by a good friend of the pod, Josh Hunt, his nice little spreadsheet, a list of all the positions, all the players that fit into all the positions within formation. And like, you look at the amount of gaps that there are in terms of like probably need at least a right back, need a centre back, need a centre mid, need a right mid. Then you account for injuries, we probably need an attacking mid, probably need a striker. Like we're miles off in terms of quantity, like in quite a lot of like important areas of the pitch, and some of them have been areas that we've just simply struggled to recruit in for about 10 years, and that's one that at some point we just have to let go. You just have to again accept like that's the way it is. But I just think that there's a lot of work to be done, and like you're hearing about maybe wanting a couple more in. Like no, like we still need like 4 or 5, I think, before you start looking at that squad and thinking you'd be relatively comfortably in approaching a League One season with it. Like if the transfer window was to slam shut now, you'd rightly be very concerned. Like I don't want to jump too far ahead in terms of the squad itself, but you start on Saturday with Glenn McConnell playing in the 10. You don't want to go into a League One season with that. I'm sure he's a player who's got decent potential. Hopefully, we'll go on and have a decent career ahead of him. But like when you consider like the drop off from sort of what our very very first 11 is to the ones that are coming in after it, like it's worrying. And we're talking about a squad of players that just traditionally has not stayed fit. Like they're not going to stay fit. Footballers pick up injuries. So yeah, it's quantity that we need. Obviously, I guess the obvious answer there is you want quality and quantity.
Of course.
It doesn't have to be one or the other. But clearly, like we're struggling to recruit, and that's a big problem. Like regardless of whether that's a symptom of the league that we're in or whether it's our failures, I don't really think it matters. But I think it's okay to look at it and say that at the moment we're quite a way off where you'd like us to be. Particularly, as I say, we sit here recording Tuesday evening. The first game of the season is gone now, but the first league game of the season is on the Saturday coming. I think overall you'd be fair play to say that there's a lot still to do.
Well, mate, it's good to see you've come back refreshed and on
wow.
good.
He already looks jaded. Yeah, it's August, the start of August.
He's ready to go. Best foot forward.
Pace yourself, Walker. Come on.
It's all valid. It's all valid.
It is.
And the other point I want to make on that is about starting strong, because I think if you look at the first 5 league games, if you look at Wigan at home, who haven't had a brilliant summer and are fancied to be in the same bottom 7-8 of the league as us, Bromley away, and that's a huge game. I know it's only the second game of the season, so it feels weird to call it that, but I'm sure you see what I mean. The book is favourite to go down. Huddersfield at home, Bradford away, okay, a bit trickier, but you've got another home game in there, and then Burton away, who are probably, I mean, they are literally have a bench full of youth players at the moment. So the point is, like, if we're not ready to go right from the off, you don't want to be dropping valuable points in what could end up being, as much as I am confident that we'll stay up and we'll get to the predictions later for finishing positions, I'm sure it'll still be tight because there's not a lot of margin for error in this division. So you want to be ready to go best foot forward, just like Tom with his podcasting. Let's talk about centre mids, because if not, we're never going to get through this squad. 4 options in there at the moment: Ball and Panzu, McLaughlin and Hoddle. Well, Hoddle obviously injured until October. Probably the most glaring omission, I know this has been covered in recent pods, the number 8 shirt was left vacant on the squad numbers list at Swindle. Does it disappoint you? I guess it's kind of quite a good continuation of what Tom was saying, that it looks like we're going to go into the first game, probably 2 games, without that starting centre mid that we've been talking about all summer, that Harris himself has been quite openly talking about for 6 weeks now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we kind of just have to think, back to what Tom said and looking back to what's happened in the past. It can so quickly happen where one of those key players picks up an injury, and suddenly that whole centre of the park is upset. And there's no kind of consistency throughout there. We saw it on Saturday in that League Cup game, and Caspel's referenced it. I referenced it. If that's not kind of being ran at the optimum level where it needs to be run, the whole game suffers. Cambridge United's game kind of falls apart if that isn't the strong part of the pitch. And I think time and time again we've looked at that combo in the middle of the park. There's been questions about Bourne and Panzu playing together and all the rest of it, and Hoddle sadly has picked up quite a serious injury and is someone that will need kind of eased back in, not forced back in. We've got a player, as Tom has already referenced, that was released from the club and is now back there, who will definitely feature in some guise or another. So yeah, it really feels like in the next 4 days that we really do need to get something in that position. You've referenced there that we need to hit the ground running with these games. I think you look at the cup draw and maybe slightly feel that actually that's probably a bit of a thankful draw, getting a home draw against someone like Millwall rather than having to travel, a couple of hours, because you look at the 2 games after that are away trips and it's going to be tough. We need to make the Abbey the fortress, but that running those games from centre midfield is kind of, all part of that. And if that's not, solidified and where it needs to be, then yeah, at the start of the season, it could be a difficult start. So yeah, it seems a shame. And obviously there's been a lot of conversations about why we're not able to get people through the door. You look around the league and you look at, bids being made in leagues below and above us for a lot of money, and clubs able to spend a lot of money. But for some reason, even with kind of players on trial, whether they're not good enough, they don't fit the bill, or we can't offer them what they want, for some reason we can't get bodies through the door. You look at all the other 3 promoted teams and they've all signed 2 or 3 more than us this, in this transfer window. So like, Bromley have been able to do it. Bromley have recruited. Everyone's been able to recruit regardless of the size of team and budget and all the rest of it. And sadly, I think that centre midfield could be suddenly very glaringly open if anyone picks up a knock.
Yeah, you do really, like, the longer and longer that goes on for, because like I referenced at the start, that it's something we've spoken about for weeks on various pods now. So there's not much point going over our ground, but the longer it goes on, you are just like, whoever ends up being signed there, like, really, you put the pressure on them being of such a good quality that it's worth that wait. Because you make a good point about referencing, especially Bromley, who I think have signed 11 so far, and of some good quality in there as well. It's not just, you can tell they're 11 like strategic signings, let's say. So anyway, yeah, let's obviously big eyes on that, but nothing even in a rumour mill at the moment. So clearly something that Harris is frustrated with, and maybe it's our own fault. We won't know, but something big needs to be done there. I've grouped these players as attackers: Knight, Kai, Stead, Heath, McConnell. Tom, no, Caspel, because I'm going to save the strikers for Tom. Is it fair to say? Is it fair to say that this is maybe the strongest area of the pitch by individual quality here on the back line, I guess?
Yeah, I think maybe the centre backs or these guys, but obviously it depends how you cut it all up, I guess. It's good quality in there, isn't it? Obviously, it's a real shame about Stead getting injured. That's like a bit of a freak injury, isn't it? So that just can't be reconciled. I don't think he's going to start McConnell on Saturday. I know we'll do a preview pod. I think he'll find some combo of Knight, Kai, Heath. I think McConnell will be spared. But yeah, the injury is a bit of a shame. But it's probably, when you look across all the departments, this is the one that you look at and you think, yeah, we are reasonably well stocked in this area. If you're being greedy, and maybe we should be greedy after hearing Tom's, there's a monologue there. Maybe we could get a winger in that, proper like hug the touchline style, I guess, winger, and or someone who can also play wing back just to pump up our numbers and maybe spare us deploying Shane McLaughlin.
Is James Brophy available to be re-signed?
Well,
this is what players we could go and grab?
To be fair, this is what we were saying at the weekend, and it's a bit flippant, obviously, because what's done is done. But like, when Brophy was released, everyone was a bit like, yeah, all right. I can sort of see why we've done that. We need to move on. We need to be ruthless because we're in League One now. It's just been a big old vacuum in behind it, hasn't it? So yeah. If you offered it right now, so we could have retained Brophy, I'd be like, yeah, definitely.
I'll take it.
Just because he's reliable. He's playing 40 plus games a season. He does a job. He does his defensive work. He is adaptable. Could play in centre mid. You don't really want it, but like left wing back, like you just know you could move him around and he'll come and do a job and be like at least reliable, dependable, and is just like a really solid pro. And I think it's not that I wanted to retain Brophy specifically. I think it's just a shame that we are where we are now, and that is the held belief, if you know what I mean. But obviously we've got a couple of weeks left, so I'm trying to do the positive piece, I guess, and just know that I think everything they're saying about the market is like true, more so than ever when we see some other clubs in this division and some of them sums of money that are being spoken about. You kind of look at the longer term future of the club and you sort of think, I was saying it again at the weekend, like, are we entering our like yo-yo club era? Are we going straight back down to come almost straight back up? Do you know what I mean? Are we going to do a bit of moving between these two divisions over the next 5 years, as we already have, obviously, in the last 2 seasons? And is that the right thing to do? And will we see some of these clubs kind of actually go to the wall in the next 10 or 15 years because of the decisions they're making now? The only thing I will say against that is I feel like we've been saying that for at least 10 or 15 or 20 years, and it doesn't seem to actually be happening in reality. Not that I want other clubs to go out of business, but how long can we carry this narrative that we're doing things the right way?
If you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, just spend the money, man. Hopefully this new investor, just smash the money up the wall. It's not my money, but just get it spent.
Yeah.
No, I mean this department is good. I mean Heath so far he looks really exciting as a footballer. I think he will be able to make a pretty immediate impact because I think he's just like on another level, this guy. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see how that transfers into League One.
I do think, to keep that positive vibe up, it's worth saying Knight Kai Heath as a free in behind a striker, even if that striker's Apre on Saturday. I think that there's a lot in that for sure, even at League One level. So yeah, a good area of the pitch, but wouldn't mind an extra body in there. And I think we were saying that about Brophy, by the way, even at the end of last season, was like exactly as you said. Yeah, I can understand it, but also dependent on it being upgraded. And
we just haven't filled the void, right?
maybe, yeah. Anyway, Tom, you can have the strikers. Apare, Lavery, Ahadme on loan, Ryan Loft, and 16-year-old, or I think just turned 17.
He's 17, mate.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah, Dan Ifobi. Well,
He was
16
born
until he's
after
17.
he was born after I graduated from university, by the way.
Amazing.
Oh, Lord.
Amazing. Dan Ifobi, obviously, we were talking about there. Let's use it, with a bit of the Saturday chat with Hadme not making the team sheet. Did that really kind of prove the point about how fragile we are in this department? And you can repeat yourself for what you were saying earlier, Tom, because I think here more so than anywhere in this department is where we feel really light and kind of have done all summer. It's not something new, is it?
10 years.
10 years. Yeah, true.
The last 10 years.
Yeah.
I think I will say that I think Ifobi and remarkably Ryan Loft have done a lot of heavy lifting for you there, Julian, because
I know.
to try and dress up a situation where we're going into the season with 5 strikers is quite the effort.
Look, they are contracted to Cambridge United Football Club. I think it'd be remiss of us to not. I think Ifobi signed a deal, or he's definitely been offered one. Anyway, you're right. Let's put it like this: Apare, Lavery, Ahadme. That's what we've got at the moment.
Do you want to just clip it up from the start of last season, the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that, and just say exactly the same thing? Because it is exactly the same thing, but I think it's really frustrating with the strikers. When we re-signed Lavery and we re-signed Ahadme, we sat there and went, Apre might not be good enough. The other two definitely won't be fit enough across the course of the season. But you need a reinforcement there. Like, you need somebody else there. I suppose you can make the argument maybe Stead was seen as being that 4th striker, but your man's caught he's caught the bug himself. So I think I'm trying to think of a new way to articulate my frustration that we're going into a season, in my opinion, again, short-staffed in the politest possible way, short-staffed at the top end of the pitch, because this is the area that's been all the problem really over the last few years. It feels like it's never been properly addressed. We've put a plaster on it with Lavery, who's not going to play enough football this season to be like considered like a striker. He's going to be like half a striker, a bonus option if you like. Don't think that's unfair. I mean, he might go on and make 46 appearances, but I somehow doubt it. Even Ahadme's quality at this level has been questioned. Like, went to Stevenage, did square it with Naffle, did okay with us for like 4 games under Neil Harris before, but spent a lot of time out injured and has done pretty much throughout his career. And obviously Apare, we had long discussions about his value in League Two last season. Northampton got promoted and binned him off straight away, basically. And we're going into this season, I think, with a set of 3 strikers who are either not good enough, not fit enough, or in some cases both. And I think that comes across as being like super negative, but maybe that's just years of going into seasons with. I think you should approach a season with 4 strikers. You should, probably plan for the assumption that for parts of games at least you're going to play with 2, and probably because of the combination of strikers we've got, you're going to have one out injured at some point, so it doesn't leave you much option. So it's a really frustrating part of the pitch for me, to be honest with you. I understand in centre mid, like maybe you're going for a different type of player entirely. Certain things happen, like Hoddle getting injured, which is unfortunate. So that I can kind of look past a little bit. I think the defensive thing, like, you would have liked to have kept Gibbons. That would have solved at least one of your problems there, maybe even two. So again, that's unfortunate, and it's hard to replace a player like that. So I understand that, but this is an area of the pitch that we simply knew we were going to have to recruit in because, again, I'll say it again, we released Shane Lavery. Nevitt went back to wherever it was that he came from. And again, no question marks about Apre. So you knew you were going to have to strengthen. I would say that if I'm trying to put a bit of a positive spin on it, and this is really trying to put a positive spin on things, it's better than the three we had last time we're at this level, which I think was Alundaloo, Loft, and Lavery. So we've certainly upgraded that. But
well, thank God for that. Imagine if we downgraded on that.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. So, look, I think you can delve into each specific position on the pitch, and I just think there's a lot of question marks about the personnel we've got available to us. I don't want to pin it all on the strikers because I think there's other areas of the pitch that are similarly quite questionable. Centre mid is the obvious one at the moment. Centre back, we talked a lot about, is Joe going to stay? Is Joe going to go? That'll leave you with a lot of work to do. The goalkeeper thing, it is what it is. But the strikers one is just one that's been nagging on pretty much every transfer window for as long as I can remember, and here we are again. I think we're short staffed. I might be coming across being too negative. I promise you, I'll try and kind of pick it up in terms of positivity later on, because I do think there's a lot of things to be positive about. But yeah,
the players aren't one of them.
If you want to reduce it down to that, you reduce it down to that. It's not necessarily what I think, but I appreciate that's probably how it comes across. Yeah, look, I think we're light up front. I think if you're asking me for areas we're going to struggle, it's simply going to be to put the ball in the back of the net, and I don't think that will come as any surprise. And if it does come to pass that we are struggling to be potent like we were last time we're in League One, and to be honest, for a long parts of last season, even despite getting promoted, nobody can turn around and say that's a surprise, because we've frankly dug our own grave with it in that respect. So I hope that it can turn out not like that, but we go into Saturday, I think, light, and if we start the season and the transfer window shuts with this set of three strikers, and I think alarm bells will and probably should start ringing.
Yeah, Saturday's really got to be like a warning sign in that respect, hasn't it? And like, if you're trying to be an optimist, you might say, "Oh, it's quite a good time for like Academy to go down injured because it lays it quite bare and might force their arm if they hadn't."
Yeah, but the worrying thing for me there is that the suggestion from that is that if Hadme hadn't got injured, then we wouldn't.
But that is the suggestion, because Harris did say we're done in that department, didn't he, a few weeks ago? Which I agree is crazy. I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying that if that's the situation, this injury happening now, that's being an optimist, that it might force their arm because it just lays it all so bare. Anyway, we'll see. Let's move on to something that is a bit more positive to wrap up this bit of the pod, which is the manager, Jack. Harris, and I guess to an extent, let's talk about Adam Barrett as assistant. Do you think he's our greatest asset heading into the season, him and I guess his coaching staff? Do you think that's the real positive for us to kind of cling on to and be really confident about?
Yeah, I think he's got them playing like to the ability that they actually have. I think there's a lot of players in there, who were kind of questioning their own ability at certain times and not playing to their full capability. And you look at someone like Kel Watts, who's just, improved under Neil Harris so much, and he's got really good stuff out of Ben Knight. He's obviously managed him really well, and I think his style of management is really good at grinding results out. He's done it time and time again for United. Last season we've spoken about it quite a few times. We got promoted because we had such a good defense and we were able to get through those games. It wasn't particularly pretty, but ultimately we got promoted. So if Neil Harris can do that again, instill that mentality, have a home record that is really positive, and keep that defense tight, then that can really be something that we can kind of make our thing this season as well. League One is more competitive, but the same kind of practice still goes in there. And if we can be that team that is hard to break down, frustrating to go to, and then go away and can grind a game out, then why not? We've been in League One before. We rode our luck for 2 or 3 seasons arguably, and it ran out, and we were a lot different team back then. So now Neil Harris has got to play quite disciplined football, and that incredible defensive record from last year. If we can kind of replicate that, or get close to it at this level, there's no reason why Harris is not the man to do it. And I think there's a lot of faith put in him and his his staff, backroom staff, kind of, being able to work with the players that they've got. And a lot of really good points have been made about us being kind of, a little short on numbers all over the pitch, really. But, the team and players that Neil Harris has at his disposal, he will get the best out of, and I have the faith that he's the right man to do this. I don't think there's many other managers in the Football League who you'd prefer to have at the helm at this time at Cambridge United. I think he's someone that can do that and grind it out. So yeah, I think it's the right person to have. And hearing him speak yesterday was a nice positive spin on that. But I think they have to get real. They have to be real with it. It's going to be a long old season, and if it gets hard and we go on one of those long losing streaks or along without a win, then Harris has to kind of get used to that being the norm. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes if things don't go so well. But yeah, I think 100% the right man to have.
Yeah, I think it's interestingly, without spoiling a sort of a hot take point or a point that we'll come on to, the one thing I kind of get the impression of with Harris is we might go on like winless streaks, but I just always feel like we'll keep picking up points throughout the season. I don't see him as the sort of manager that not like doesn't allow losing streaks, but we just have a floor that is quite high under Harris, and he can get so much out of teams to make life really difficult, especially at the Abbey for other teams. And he is just such a big part of the confidence, and he's over 200 championship games, 180 odd League One games as well. Has been promoted from this division. His record kind of speaks for itself. And Casper, I think to wrap up this segment, let's go all the way back to something you mentioned right at the start, which is there is definitely an argument that his style is more suited to League One, isn't there? That at least teams who are happier to play without the ball, he is like, as in he likes to play without the ball. He prefers to maybe play on the break, soak up pressure, than have the ball and break other teams down, because coaching attacking patterns is maybe less something that you'd describe as one of his strong suits. So maybe actually the way games will set up for us as the underdog, if you want to call us that, would suit him more frequently in League One than it would in League Two, potentially.
Again, hopefully. Yeah, we're going to see it, aren't we?
It's a good theory.
I think it's a good theory. I like the sound of it. I hope it's right, because it means again that football on display might not be the most aesthetic as it maybe even wasn't last season. Yeah, I hope you're right. I've just got a weird feeling though that I think it'll be Bromley away. We'll go Bromley away, and we're going to try and like shut up shop. And I think it's going to cause like a deal of frustration in the fan base, if you know what I mean. I've got a sense that we're going to pick up 10 to 15 points only away from home, maybe even close to 10. I think that's going to be a point of frustration, if that makes sense. Sorry, I've made that really negative.
We've all managed to do it. I'm excited to hear all of our predicted finishes, because
Tom is clearly predicting us to finish bottom of the league based on his chat so far.
I would have quite liked to have been handed the Neil Harris one rather than the strikers one, to be honest.
Mate, have you say now?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, like
he's good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's decent. Next,
right?
No. I think I agree with like a lot of what's been said. I think obviously the challenge of getting promoted out of a division is very different to trying to stay in one. And I think weirdly, even having done it and having witnessed it with my own eyes, I'm still not totally certain that Neil Harris is like the type of manager that you would bank on to get you promoted from a division, because it does, rely on a certain amount of intent to go and win a decent proportion of your games, which obviously we did in the end. So look, let's not rewrite history. He's obviously been promoted with Mill before and that sort of stuff. But what I will say is that his strengths as a manager clearly are making the team difficult to beat. And as much as I've been a little bit, I've been negative on certain parts of the squad. And when I say certain parts, I've been negative on the squad. I've said it in pods gone by that I think what I would fall back on is that I just am very confident that with maybe not any combination of players, but certainly like if you say that 75% of our squad will be fit all season, which is probably what will happen. Hopefully, touch wood. Really, really can't jinx that. But if that is what happens, I think I back him to get enough of a tune out of those players that are available to basically not, like you said, Julian, like not lose loads of games. And the problem that we had with Monk, if you go back to the last summer in League One, was that we just simply found ways of losing games every time we tried to win one. or try to even draw one. Like you think of that Rotherham game at home, for example, where there's no world in which you come out of that with less than with anything that's not a 0-0 draw, and yet somehow Rotherham score off one of their players' actual backsides in like the 94th minute when what was their first away win for like nearly 2 years. Like I don't see that sort of thing happening with Harris, and that's not coincidence. It's not a fluke. It's just the fact that he is the sort of manager who will grind you points out and who will turn zeros into ones sometimes when you most need them, but also sometimes probably when you least expect them. So it wouldn't surprise me, for example, if you go to some of the bigger grounds or some of the bigger money clubs in this division, and you bloody their noses. But when the onus is on you to go and beat a Bromley or a Burton or something, maybe we struggle to do it. And the reality is that all points count the same in this division. So as they do in every league. So if you're looking for an area of positivity, Harris is an absolutely massive one. And I would say that as we come on to predictions a little bit later on, the positive feeling that I have around the manager or the management and then the coaching staff and their ability to turn us into a team that's difficult to beat and that will just get jobs done. The positivity that I feel about that massively outweighs any negativity that I feel about the squad, which might be hard to believe, but just trust me on it.
No, I kind of agree. He is our greatest asset and the biggest source of confidence. And those predictions that you mentioned there, we're going to move on to them right now. There's 5 categories here. Top goal scorers, player of the season, player of the season, points versus posh, hot takes, and predicted finish to end with. We're going to go around the room in here, category by category, and then I'll read out what some of our other contributors have predicted. Let's start top goal scorer. Following on nicely from the striker chat. But Casper, you go first. Who have you got for your top goal scorer?
Ifobi. No, mate. Rate him. Ben Knight. Going to be Ben Knight. Kite inside. I think he's going to double figures, which I like.
I feel
confident.
So
he's just going to... He made himself quite a few openings against Barnet. I know it's Barnet. I know it's League Cup. He didn't take the shot when he got his goal. But he just looks such a threat coming in off that wing. And I just think that's going to be something we see over and over and over again. And I think he's just going to keep I just think his ceiling is absolutely enormous. So actually what I wrote down in my notes was Ben Knight, and then he will leave for the Championship.
Well, it's funny you say that because I've written down on my notes, our leading scorer by a mile. He'll have the sort of season that lead to rumours of him leaving for the Champ in Jan.
I think it's probably good news for us and definitely for him if that's happening, if that is that chat in January, and hopefully we can just hold on to him and then he goes on and has a great career and leaves us in a good shape, basically.
Swindle, you're nodding along, Knight as well?
Yeah, I am nodding along. Ben Knight with an asterisk, which I'll come to later. But yeah, I think he's just going to have, just from what we've seen in pre-season and what we saw at the back end of last season, was a player who was playing with such confidence, but also happily playing, and it's a nice thing to have seen. So yeah, I think Ben Knight will run away with it potentially this season.
I assume that asterisk will make itself clear at some point later.
It certainly will do. Yeah.
Fine. Okay, good. Tom, Knight as well.
Yeah, go with Ben Knight.
Clean sweep.
If I can add on to what Casper said there, I would also probably just make the point that he's also going to have a full season to score his goals with this time rather than his breakout in November. So, hopefully he'll have a full season with us.
He'll at least start the season from the off. Yeah.
Well, unless he gets injured, obviously.
Or unless he gets sold in this window.
Yeah.
And he will, I think one thing that was really clear against Barnet was something that we said a couple of times towards the end of last season, is that he seems to have just taken on a little bit extra responsibility within the team. Situations where maybe he could and arguably should have passed the ball, maybe to a better place. He's thinking now, or seems to be thinking, and rightly so, by the way, why would I pass you the ball? I'm simply better than you. I'm simply more likely to score, so I'm going to take the shot on. And if you're looking for a top goal scorer, you probably want someone with that sort of mentality. So fair credit to him. It's the way it should be. And I've also got him double digits, but only 11. So
okay,
double digits just.
Very specific.
I didn't actually put a figure on mine, but I'll say 14, just for the sake of it.
I'll say 37. Come on, 90. Okay. Come on, 90. Single-handedly keep us in this division.
Swindle, is this the asterisk or no?
No, this is in the asterisk. No, I've got him under
Ooh.
12, let's say.
12, fine. Yes, agree with all of that. Matt Ramsey, Ben Griffiths, and Liam from the Cambridge Independent all agree. Few other shouts, though. Owen's gone for Shane Lavery on the basis that he isn't currently injured. He was most goals per nightly last season, wasn't he? So if by some miracles he can stay fit and score enough goals in the half an hour cameos, potentially. Freddie's gone for Ghassan Ahadme. Instantly injured, I think, after he sent the prediction. So I'm not sure how much you'll like that one. And Matt Gooding's gone for Louis Appere,
I don't know about this.
which he's a very sensible man, Matt Gooding, whenever he's been on the pod. But I'm very interested by that. Do you think the theory is just
I'm
he
gonna
will
say
play
it
more than
now.
the other strikers and get better service?
If that happens, we're going to finish in the bottom four. I'll just say that now.
Okay.
We haven't had the rest of his predictions yet, to be fair, Caspar. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's very true. So a little bit of a spread there. Player of the season, Tom. Do you want to kick us off?
yeah, I do. A name that's not probably been mentioned enough so far is Kel Watts. I think a lot of people's player of the season from last season rather, and I just spoke about Ben Knight taking it a bit of responsibility within the team in terms of how he approaches like attacking situations. One thing that was really noticeable when we were out in Spain for pre-season and we were particularly watching the training on the day before the game is just how vocal he is, and I think it's something he mentioned to us actually in the I can't remember if it was actually on the record or maybe just afterwards, but he mentioned certainly to us at some point that he felt that like with like Morrison leaving and one or two of the other experienced guys like Corey Smith and Kachunga, like I know those last two players maybe didn't have as much of a contribution as someone like Michael Morrison would have done, but senior pros who left and took a lot of appearances out the door with them, a lot of career appearances that is. And Kel Watts was kind of, it was pretty honest that he felt like this is kind of his moment really to step up and really take a bit of a role in the side. And if the season goes the way you think it will, which is that we're going to be back against the wall quite a lot and we're going to have to grind out points, it's probably going to rely on a lot of rear guard action. And you think your man Kel Watts is going to be right at the centre of that. So yeah, I've gone with man Watts, and we probably should have had an extra category for like the amount of thigh passes that there's going to be.
Yeah, good point.
XT,
Yeah.
XTP. And that could go through the roof, and if it does, then he'll have deserved his player of the season trophy really well.
Over or under 100?
Over, definitely.
2 a game.
What I've noticed, yeah, and I said this a couple of times to Jord on Saturday, was that he doesn't just like do thigh passes back now. It is like an instinct to like clear the ball as well. So that's one to look out for. We can't. At some point, he's gonna have to use his feet and his head, but yeah, it's quite noticeable that thigh is getting a lot of use.
Be nice to see him score with the thigh, wouldn't it? That would be a really nice sort of full circle to the thigh story. Swindle, who have you got for player of the season?
A player that I've just been really impressed with in the few appearances that he's made so far. I think he's going to be one that's going to have that kind of Ben Knight influence, but probably will kind of scare defenders even maybe a bit more. And it's Isaac Heath. I think he's come in. I think he just looks a cut above. He looks really keen to get involved. He links the play together really well, and he's also not scared to get back. I think whilst Ben Knight might take the plaudits for getting most goals in that squad, I think Heath will definitely, get himself about. I think he'll play a lot, which is good. Young, quick player, really looking to kind of prove himself. And at this level, I think he's going to have a lot of fun. Even if Cambridge United are, a team that are going to be down there, I think he'll be able to carry the break forward. We've looked quite good on the break, certainly in the second half as well against Barnet, and in the first half actually. And I think Heath was heavily involved in that. So I think he's going to be someone who can be, heavily involved in driving us forward in the chances that we get. And yeah, he'll be my player of the season.
Yeah, I like that shout. It's probably worth saying to scroll all the way back to the Brophy chat that you kind of described Brophy there a bit as well in the way carrying the ball forward, bringing the ball forward, but hopefully with a bit of end product, or like a bit of extra quality in his end product as well. So, I mean,
Brophy's still catching strays, mate.
Of course he is. Just let 2 goals in 4 years in League One.
Just let him go, mate. God.
Who have you got?
Ben Knight.
Yeah,
Boring,
me too. Yeah, it's so boring.
Just rinse and repeat. He's going to bang a load of goals, get a load of assists, score some crucial pens, probably score at London Road, get onto that in a sec.
And I should also mention, because I didn't a second ago, that George was fully in agreement. He said top goal scorer Ben Knight with at least 2 missed pens, lowering his tally. So he's a bit lower on the pens than you, but I'm with you, player of the season.
We're going to
Ben
win
Knight.
any pens? We're not going to win many pens,
No,
are we?
true. Well, 2 that he'll miss.
Does missing a penalty lower your tally?
Or like harm his tally? Yeah.
Sorry,
it doesn't lower
that
it.
was
It's not minus one, is it? Yeah.
that was needlessly pernickety, but it's been one of them
Fair point.
days.
It limits his tally. How about that?
Fine. It's always good
Sort
to
of,
correct George when he's not here to defend himself.
Yeah, not sure it's really that important either. Player of the season, George's gone for Callum Perry, and I'd like to know what people think about this. Matt Ramsey agreed with him and has gone for Callum Perry. Casper, quite impressive so far from what we've seen.
I've been impressed, but Neil Harris is saying he's like going to reach the top
Play
of
for
world
England, did he say?
football.
Premier League.
It's like whoa. Hang about. I mean, he does look good. He looks quite probably like a League One
World class.
reboot of James Gibbons, I would say. Gibbons and
Come on,
world-class.
you can't have at one end Neil Harris saying this guy's going right to the very top, and then someone else going, he looks a bit like James.
Let's
Gibbons.
see. Let's see. Cut the audio. 10 years time, we'll come back to this. Who was right, me or Neil? I'm willing to. Has he made it? Is he playing at the World Cup, or is he playing in like League One? You know.
I reckon he might be the first Player of the Year nominee to not have a Wikipedia page. When I was first trying to look up Callum Perry, still not got a Wikipedia page. Great stuff. But yeah, he looks awesome. He looks like a cut above. And someone that
struggle this year, yeah.
Exactly.
What are you going to say about him? How are you going to remind yourself every week who he is?
Transfer market's going to get the pound. But no, I just think he looks unreal, and like he's going to be one of those players that if we are on the defensive and playing on the break, another one of those like Heath, who's just going to be driving it forward. So yeah, good shout from Jord.
Good delivery. Yeah, that left-hand side could be really strong with Perry and Heath. So yeah, that's Jord and Matt Ramsey's shout. Matt Gooding's with us on this one, Casper, that Ben Knight will be player of the season. So is Liam as well. Owen's gone for Isaac Heath with you, Swindle. Freddie's gone for Don Ball, which I quite like. One of our most consistent performers over the course of last season. He's put, I expect Ball to be a perfect antidote to the increase in opposition midfield stature. Interesting, maybe stepping up to that captain mantle. Ben agrees with you, Tom. Kel Watts. And yeah, that's the list of... There's a good spread there, player of the season. I think interesting, a good few names. No Job, interestingly. You never know. Splitter, yeah, you never know.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
Right, points versus Posh. Let's rattle through this with a few numbers. Who's got 6? Because Jord has.
Wild.
No one on this panel.
No.
There is. He's not the only one. Matt Gooding's got 6. Owen's got 6. Freddie's got 6. That's a fair bit of confidence.
I don't think Owen has ever predicted us to lose against Peterborough ever in his.
I quite like that.
He did say my head says 6, but my heart says 1.
Is that not totally the wrong way around?
That's the point, I think. Yeah. I've got 4.
I said 4. Yeah,
I've said 3. I just can't see us going there and doing anything. I can't see me going there, like let alone any of the players being able to go there and get anything from that game.
I think Harris will take us there.
I think we win there.
I think he'll want to just destroy the football match because of what's happened before. He'll go for a 0-0, as I like to call them.
Yeah.
And you're saying we're going to nab a winner.
I think we go win there, yeah.
Little
and it's
little Lavery winner.
Moment of the season. Yeah, little Lavs winner, yeah.
Yeah.
Tom,
Have you enjoyed like your memories wiped or something? Yeah, we'll go.
It just can't be as bad as last time, Tom. I just refuse to believe it.
We left at half time 2 years in a row.
Go on, what do you think then? 0?
Please say 0.
4 as well. 4 as well.
Wow, that's bullish. That's got to be one of our highest.
Win at the
That's
Abbey.
our highest total.
No, I also think we're going to win at London Road.
Yeah, why not?
Swindle, I think you've got the lowest. You and Liam are the only people to go with 3, but Liam's also said that we'll go and win at London Road. Right. So Swindle, you are the most negative of all of our contributors. Everyone thinks we're going to beat Posh at least once this season.
That is remarkable stuff.
Has
that gone well in any other season?
No.
It would have gone well in the first time we played them. Because we got 3 points.
Yeah,
rather than
true.
Yeah, there's a lot of 4s and 6s there, aren't there?
Yeah,
feels like too many.
A large majority.
Feels like we should know better.
Okay, well, speaking of, let's get on to some hot takes. I feel like, Tom, we should start with you. What have you got for us this year? Because to remind ourselves, was your hot take last year that it was something along the lines of our defence would be the worst area of the pitch, and we conceded to
Yeah.
have the best, proceeded to have the best defence in the English Football League?
Because to everyone's surprise, we went into last season and we felt like we weren't quite well stocked enough up front. So everyone thought, well, that's going to be the problem scoring goals. And I went, actually, I think because there's
Nice.
potential to centre back and we had problems last season defending, I think actually defensively we might be quite shaky. Fast forward 8 months, we had literally the best defensive record in the entire Football League, and only bettered by the actual Premier League champions. I was kind of umming and ahhing this year. I was wondering whether to sort of, totally 180 it and just go, actually, our problems are going to be exactly what we expect they're going to be. But I felt that wasn't quite a hot enough take. So I'll touch on something that I mentioned earlier on about the fact that I feel like in games where you expect us to win, we might slip up. In games where you don't expect us to win, we might just put a result out of the bag. And I think we might go and win at least 2 ex-Premier League clubs this season.
Oh, nice. Yeah, nice. Any?
There's-
Do you want to
there's-
specify the two you think?
There's 8 in the league, I think. I've got this right in saying we've got Barnsley, Blackpool, Bradford, Huddersfield, Leicester City, obviously fairly recent Premier League champions as well, Luton, Reading, Sheffield Wednesday, and Wigan. Now, we play Leicester away on the last day of the season.
Yeah.
That's speaking to me. That's speaking to me.
That's such a funny list because they're not all like born equal, are they? Like if the two
Some
you go and
quite
win
shit-
at, they're
there's
like
quite
Wigan and
shit
Bradford,
trio, yeah.
or Barnsley.
Yeah.
Yeah, admittedly, I probably should should have ended with Leicester rather than ending
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Wigan. Well, I guess Wigan won the FA Cup. I won't stick my neck out too much and say which ones I think will beat, but I guess you can just take my hot take generally to be I think we'll bloody the noses of a few quite big sides in this division this season, particularly away from home.
I like that actually, and I'll put it on the record that I like that for when I inevitably take the piss out of you in 8 months' time.
And having
you
spoken
can
about
remember this.
memories wiped, I'm talking about going and getting something from Chef Wednesday away, which is
Yeah.
which has not been a happy hunting ground for us over the last couple
No.
of visits.
Not at all. Swindle. Well, actually, sorry. Just before we come on to your Swindle, I better mention George here because he's taken inspiration from you last year, Tom. He's gone for we'll be surprised at how leaky at the back we are this year, which I guess is quite a hot take considering, as you just said, best defense in the EFL. But he, like me, said he kind of struggled to come up with something here. Swindle, did you struggle, and what have you landed on?
I did struggle. I think my hot take is fairly hot. If you pull the asterisk from,
I knew the asterisk was coming.
yeah,
I
the
knew this
asterisk
was
is
it.
coming. I don't believe that the top scorer for Cambridge United at the end of the season plays for Cambridge United yet.
Oh, what?
So I think we will sign our top scorer either in the rest of this transfer window or in January.
What I thought you were going to say was that Ben Knight will be our top scorer, but won't play for Cambridge United at the end of the
But
season.
leave in January.
Yeah,
He can still leave be our top
Yeah.
scorer and leave in January.
Yeah,
exactly.
It all
Yeah.
goes to fuck.
I
Yeah,
suppose the question here is Swindle, and this might be a bit of a precursor to how well you think we might fare this season. Do you think our top scorer is going to sign in the summer or in January?
Yeah.
I've got a horrible
Yeah.
feeling it might be a January sign-in, and
Oh,
the total might be like 7.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice and positive. Okay, nice. I like it. Casper, I'm just going to sneak in ahead of you here just
Yeah, go on.
because
Yeah, go on.
I've taken a tiny bit of inspiration from one of yours, which might not even have been last year. Maybe it was the year before. Was basically, I was thinking about this a little bit and I thought, as I mentioned that kind of kind start, I was thinking originally I was going to do something around starting really strong and then falling away. I was going to do something like would be like top 8 around December or Christmas or something. The theory being like we'll have all the momentum from last year and it's a kind of quite a nice start. We'll bloody a few noses, kind of to your point, Tom, and we'll surprise a few people, etc., etc. And then we'll fall away and go on a really like bad run. Wimbledon did the same thing last year after they went up, and I think Doncaster did quite a similar year when similar thing when they went up as well. But then I kind of, as I said earlier, I don't think Harris is the sort of manager to like go on long losing runs. So I kind of think we'll just plod along and always be kind of okay all season. But I think from there, I then thought, well, I think by January we'll already know that we're like pretty decent and we're not like right in the mire of a relegation scrap. So I think we'll give the cup a really good go. So my original one was going to be we're going to win the Virtu, which I know was yours from a few years ago, Caspel. But I've actually switched it just because I'm taking inspiration from.
We're going to win the League Cup.
We're going to win the League Cup, yeah. No, I think we're going to reach the 5th round of the FA Cup, is what I've gone for. Is that what yours is? Or similar?
I've got 5th or 6th round of the FA Cup.
Oh, I didn't know whether to go 5th or 6th. So...
6th, just go big.
All right, let's both go big. 6th round.
6th round.
Right now, Casper, our predictions are identical. So I think we need to. They are literally exactly the same.
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah, 6th round of the cup.
That's
great. I guess the theory being like take inspiration from the. It was the first year back up, wasn't it, that we won at Newcastle?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Why don't
I was waiting for that.
Why don't we add a bit of flavour and say we'll knock Peterborough out at London Road? Why not?
Why don't you have that one? Because it's just that we don't have identical ones,
and then make it to the 6th round, and we'll knock them out of the FA Cup.
I'll nick a bit of Tom's, and we'll beat a
route.
current Premier League club to make the 6th round of the cup. How about that?
Go on then.
But yeah, that's my hot take. So nice cup run. We've got a couple of hot takes from around the grounds. I'd like to start with Matt Ramsey's. Neil Harris to do fist bumps in front of the away end if Millwall win at the Abbey in the 2nd round of the EFL Cup, which that's quite the hot take, I think, isn't it? It's as hot take gets. He said, we beat Millwall and half of their fan base turn up with us in the away end when we play West Ham in round 3, which seems maybe a bit more likely. Maybe a chance to talk about that cup draw just briefly, Tom. You described it as dull as dishwater, but Matt Ramsey seems to think that there might be a bit more excitement to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's the 3rd time I've played Millwall in the League Cup in 6 years. I think what it is I do this every time, particularly with the League Cup, because obviously it gets regionalised. So there's only actually a select few teams you can come up against, and every single time we progress past the 1st round, I look at that, like the set of teams that are in there, because it's when some of the Premier League teams come in, the ones that aren't playing in Europe, maybe the teams that have just been relegated into the Championship, and I look at it and I go, there is no way we're not going to get a good draw from this. And I totally overlook the idea or any possibility that we might just get a Championship team at home who will probably beat us, and we'll get knocked out in front of like a half-empty Abbey Stadium, and it'll be quite a disappointing evening for everyone involved because no one really cares that much anyway. So might as well give us a big day out, but you don't get the big day out. Like I suppose last year we got Fulham, which was good.
That was good. Good.
That was good. But it was Tottenham, wasn't it? It was Tottenham. It was Chelsea. It was a trip to West Ham. That's what you were looking at. But no, it's Millwall at home. But I suppose you would have to say it's winnable because I think if it doesn't mean much to us, it means even less to a promotion chasing Championship team. They will literally not give a shit about it. I wouldn't have thought. So yeah, I suppose it's one way. If you do get past it, then you do really open it up to then get a good draw and hopefully not get Bristol City away or at home.
And we've done it before, beating Millwall at the Abbey in the Carabao Cup with Liam O'Neill scoring the winner. 3rd time in 6 seasons we're going to play them in this competition, which is fascinating.
And to be fair, if our recruitment woes at centre mid go on, then that exact scenario could repeat itself.
What a take that would be. Let's go through a couple of the others and I'll read them out, and you boys have all had a read of them. If there's anyone in particular you want to call out, let's do that at the end. So Matt Gooding's gone for United will emerge unbeaten from the 6 games against Posh, Luton and Stevenage, which I love. Ben's gone for we'll start really slowly, drop early points because of struggling to find a formation that works. Obviously he's
going to dick about with 4 at the back. So
yeah, and start.
That's a tepid take.
It's tepid. Liam's gone for, this is just repeating what we just said in the Posh section, the 3 points are going to come at London Road, first league win there since 1990. But with
Christ, that's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean 6 years before I was born. Casper, what about you?
Not come on
Stop it now.
Fucking hell.
How long was it before Ifobi was born?
Oh jeez.
Oh my god.
20 years,
19
right?
years, yeah, 19 years, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
I suppose I obviously don't know his family, but there is a outside chance that before even his parents were born.
Yeah,
Sure.
It'd be mad.
imagine.
We've got to find that. We've got to work that out. Yeah.
Well, you joke about that kind of thing, but I found out the other day that I'm older than Lamine Yamal's dad, which brings you back down to earth with a bang, doesn't it?
I'm glad you said dad there. If you found out the other day you're older than you mean,
Yeah,
that surprised you.
Got some bad news for you, buddy.
Yeah. Owen's gone for we won't win a single game in amber shorts. And then Freddie's gone for Apare will establish himself as an indispensable member of the team, which again I think maybe since Saturday is a bit more tepid than maybe it might have felt beforehand, just because I think he will play quite a lot. And
what's going on? Has his agent been like in people's DMs?
Yeah.
Predict him to be top goal scorer is rich.
They're different predictions as well, different people, different predictions. So, and anyway, really nice spread there. Let's wrap it up with predicted finishes, which I'm genuinely quite intrigued by. But Casper, we got to start with you only because me and you are identical so far. So let's see how far apart we are with predicted finish. What have you got?
I mean, the hot take was wild, mate. This,
yeah, that is pretty mad.
That's pretty wild. Yeah. I have said 15th, but like a nice solid 15th.
Yeah.
But the hilarity of that, obviously, I said 14th last season. So hopefully I'm like wrong again and we get promoted. That'd be nice. Like a solid 15th, never really in major jeopardy. Maybe a bit of like, January, February, a bit of like, oh, we're only 7 points away, 6 points away, but never feeling like massively threatened. That's the plan.
I actually agree with definitely that bit that we won't ever feel massively threatened, but I just think there will just be this gap, like this mini league, and we'll finish 18th, but we'll kind of always be fine. So I've got 18th. George's got 17th, somewhere in the middle of us. Swinder, what have you got?
Yeah, I've got 18th. I think there'll be teams down there that are going to really struggle, and sadly, there's a couple that look like they're stuffed before it starts, and it could be a really long season for them. I think we'll kind of have a nice little run at some point, and then we'll get sucked back into it. But ultimately, we'll just about have enough. I don't think it's going to be pretty. And I will I just think I should add on a slight hot take to this. I think when we have a centre back crisis in 3 weeks' time, I think it's going to be a Patrick Bauer and Ryan Lofts centre back partnership for the rest of 2026.
That is, and we'll still finish 18th.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
20 goals from centre back.
Tom?
Yeah, I think there is going to come a point with this where we are starting to really overestimate Neil Harris's influence. if we fancy that we're going to be competitive with Ryan Loft anywhere near the squad, let alone a centre back. I'll go with 16th.
Nice.
The really frustrating thing about this season and predicting where we're going to finish is that's a really positive prediction, but when you predict a team to finish 16th in the league, it can't sound anything other than quite underwhelming.
Yeah.
Which is just the way it is. An honourable mention to the guys that are not the top 20 as well, who I think had a similar prediction, but with the added caveat that they predicted Posh to go down.
Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah,
absolutely love that.
Spoiler alert, but you should just go and listen to the all of their 1-24s because they're fantastic.
Yeah, I thought I'd leave that right until the end, so that if at least they made it to the end of our episode, and then
and then go and do that.
Whatever.
Yeah. It's a good second place. So that's a nice spread. So we've got amongst the pod, we're 15th to 18th. Basically, somewhere in that sort of region. So you can ignore that, basically. We'll either do really well or much worse. From the contributors, Matt Ramsey's gone 19th, but maybe too high if there are some sensible, non-desperate signings before the end of August. Matt Gooding's got 18th. 15th from Ben Griffiths, a solid team in the bottom half of the table, a bit like you described there, Caspel, very similar to you. Liam's gone for 16th to 18th, cheating there with the spread. And I think the lowest prediction we've got is from Owen, which is 20th. So he's got us just staying up, and then Freddie's also got 15th. So I think the spread is 20th to 15th across everyone, and no higher.
It's boring, isn't it?
No one's got us to go down. No one's got us
from Max Rushton again, because we probably could have done with him. Predicting which month of the winter we're going to seal promotion in.
I thought there was no need to ask. I can just repeat them from last season. But yeah, so no one's got us to go down. No one's got us to not win at least one game against Posh. And
you think of the accumulated years of watching Cambridge United there are within the people that made these predictions, and no one's predicted us to get relegated in a season where we're literally one of the bookies' favourites to get relegated, and no one's predicted us to not beat Posh, a team who have humped us at their place and beaten us at our place in the last 3 or 4 seasons we played against them. I'll repeat it again. We simply should just know better.
Yeah, we should. But that's the excitement of pre-season, isn't it? That's what it does to you. And maybe we'll all be swiftly back down to earth on Saturday afternoon. Few shout outs to end the pod here. The preview show is obviously going to be out Friday morning. That's me and you, Swindle. We're kicking things off. We've got a bit of chat about the fan forum that you attended. And we've got a chat with everyone's favourite Barry Worthington. Tom, you were the lucky man who did that. How is Baz? As a bit of a teaser.
Yeah, it was good. We did record it on a Monday evening. He was, and I was not long in from work, so we were actually both quite hungry. So we cut it short quite a lot.
Oh, what? I wanted a 45-minute special.
I said cut it short. Everything is relative with Barry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. He was in good spirits. Particularly, he was very, very keen to hear about how Kel Watts is doing, and I was delighted to tell him that it's got better since the last time we spoke to him. So
That's
yeah,
good.
he's a great addition as always.
Well, I can't wait to hear him. And then we've got the WhatsApp channel, which obviously has been going for a couple of weeks now. It's been lively in there on match days. I was at a wedding this Saturday and I came back to about 150 unread messages. So don't let that put you off. There's a lot of good stuff going on in there. So it's nice.
You getting flamed in GIF format. Still,
oh, fantastic.
It was absolute highlight. Yeah.
It's literally one of the funniest things that's ever happened to me. I respected it so much. So good. I kicked him out straight away, but no, I didn't. Of course I didn't. We'll do a bit of a poll on there for these predictions as well to get a sense from the group on how everyone's feeling with all these pre-season preview predictions. And then I'm going to put them up on the website as well if you want to give them a read. And we've got some league-wide fan previews if you want to get a sense of how all the other clubs are feeling. Do buy the Cambridgeshire Independent every week. We've got a column in there as well. Too much to plug because the last thing is merch. I'm actually wearing it here. Obviously, we're not video, but we've got
great
some caps.
for podcasts.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's nice. Just trust me. It will be on the website in the next few days, hopefully.
Do you want to describe it any more than what you've just done? Other than
No.
just nice?
No. It's just good.
Okay.
I'm telling you. I won't even tell you what piece of clothing it is. No, it's a lovely cap with a little book and ball in the middle. Fantastic for the end.
If you can
summer,
imagine such a thing.
Yeah. But that's great stuff, lads. It's been an absolute pleasure. Tom, I shall see you at the bar around half time on Saturday.
Probably see me a lot earlier than that, I imagine.
I was just trying to wrap up to the start, Tom. Yeah, it's just
But yeah. And I guess during that time that'll be just when Ben Knight goes on to score his first of his top goal scoring season. So that's good.
Yeah. Swindle, it's a pleasure to kick off the season. I'll see you on Thursday. Busy week for you with the pod.
It is indeed. Big week to get back to it. Thanks for having me again.
Fantastic. And Casper, how wrong can we both be with our pre-season predictions?
Bang on. We're nailed on,
we'll
mate.
Find out.
We're gonna win. We're gonna win at London Road twice. Once in the league and then once on the way to the 6th round of the FA Cup.
We will never learn. Thanks everyone for listening. See you soon.